Can you really use sardine cans as a survival stove during emergencies, disasters, or power outages? Look at there. Did you see that? That's not a sardine can. That's a salmon can. Can't use that. Nearly everyone's got rubbing alcohol in your house. You can use it as a fuel in an alcohol stove. They come in 50%, 70%, and 91%. They're all isopropyl alcohol. And if you're wondering which one should you use, and to answer which one should you use, whichever one you have. When you guys use your alcohol stoves, whether it's a traditional one or a do-it-yourself one for an emergency, what's your favorite type of fuel for your alcohol stove? A couple things before we get started. For our fuel, we're going to use the 91% isopropyl alcohol. It's a good idea that when you're using your sardine can or whatever kind of can you might use, you have a second one to use as a snuffer when you want it to go out in the event you're finished before the alcohol burns up. And please remember, if you ever use alcohol for cooking anything, you never ever try to put more fuel into a burning alcohol stove. That's a disaster just waiting to happen. If you need to put more fuel in for some reason, snuff it out, let it cool for a minute or so, or let it burn completely out before you try to put more fuel in. And last, you're going to need a good set of gloves, because some of the things around where you're cooking, your utensils are going to get really hot. This is what we're going to cook today for lunch. Chicken fried rice meal, freeze-dried meal, and we're going to fry some Spam in a Lodge cast iron, or on a Lodge cast iron griddle. This is an old backpacking and camping stove that I've had for quite a while, and it works really great for sardine can stoves. I'll put a link to this stove or a similar one in the description below. But if you don't have such a stove, at the end of the video, I will show you some do-it-yourself configurations that work just as well with your sardine can stove. So first, I'm going to fix the chicken fried rice meal, a Mountain House freeze-dried meal. Do you guys use freeze-dried meals? If so, do you use Mountain House, or do you have another brand that you prefer? Those of you who haven't used these before, I'll show you the instructions. Very simple. You can pause the video if you want to look at them a little more. I already have a little over a cup and a half of water. So I'm going to put 1 ounce of alcohol in the stove at first to boil the water, a ½ ounce at a time. A charcoal chimney grill. Don't want to eat that. Looks good, huh? All right, we will let that set for about 5 minutes. Then we'll open it, stir it up one more time, and then let it sit for another 4 or 5 minutes, or until our Spam is done. There is our Spam that Mrs. Chef Prepper so graciously sliced up for us. Sorry to interrupt the video. This is what we're going to give away as the 10,000 subscriber thank you to all you guys who have subscribed. It is a Coleman propane camp stove. And over the next couple of videos or 3, I'll be giving you all the final details, how to register, how and when we're going to pick the winner. So be sure that you subscribe and check out the next couple or 3 videos for that information. So today we're going to use just a little bit of olive oil on the griddle, but in a long-term disaster or a post-SHTF world, you might have to make arrangements to have canned butter or ghee rather than depending upon cooking oil. But for short-term emergencies, you will probably have this or something similar on hand. For those of you interested in temperatures, that's the actual flame. All right, I think they're done. Yeah, you guys just saw it. It just ran out of fuel as I was getting ready to snuff it out. How cool is that? Our chicken fried rice. Of course, this is a whole meal in and of itself if that's all you wanted to fix. And of course, you can eat these out of the bag if you were camping or on the trail somewhere. But for today, we're going to go ahead and get it out of the bag. And there's another serving like that in here. So there we go. A nice, easy to fix meal on a do-it-yourself emergency stove, which was actually a sardine can. In the event that you don't have a stove like this one or similar to it, I'm going to show you some alternative ways to set up your sardine can stove. Small tuna cans work as long as they're about a ½ inch taller than the sardine can. The same setup will work for the griddle, but you got to have that charcoal chimney grill or something similar on the cans. You don't want the griddle to be in contact with the cans. You can also use the slightly larger cans of chicken or turkey. And if you use this setup for the griddle, you have to be sure to keep that charcoal chimney grill on top of the cans between the griddle and the cans. You can also use the bricks that we use to make this miniature 1 cubic foot rocket stove as we did in this video. And you can use a grill or grate similar to this one if you're going to use a kettle, and it will work with the griddle as well. Or you can go grateless if you want to use the griddle without the grate. I will have a link to all these grills and grates that you see here in the video, should you be interested. And for more alternative, safe-to-use indoor cooking stoves and fuels, check these videos out right here.